Hello, fellow readers, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things book related. My name is Christine and welcome. Today I have a video for you that is related to my TBR. I've been seeing a lot of end of the year TBR videos where people are pretty much realizing that we're in November and we only have 2 months to finish our goals for the year. And I did at the beginning of the year, well, first of all, I made a reading journal at the beginning of the year, which is my first time doing anything like that. And I have really enjoyed this process. And I just want to preface this by saying, you have probably seen a lot of beautiful journals out there, and mine is probably not one of them. So please don't judge. I don't have great writing and I'm not artistic or anything, but I made a page in my journal that was 22 books to read in 2022. And basically what I did was I just went through my shelves and I was like, okay, this has been sitting here a while. I want to get to this. So I wrote down just 22 semi-random books that I wanted to get to this year because I thought, all right, either read it or get rid of it, because why do you have this? So I have 8 books left that I have not read, so that's not probably super great considering, I mean, it's doable, right? Like I could do 4 and 4. Will I? Probably not. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I did get through a lot of the books that I wanted to read, and I will probably do something similar for next year. I think that probably next year, because I'm not really a TBR reader, I'm more of a mood reader, but I think what I'm going to do next year is make like a seasonal type TBR. So I might do 4 different TBRs based on that time of the year, what I want to read, because it's a little bit more loose. It's not forcing me to read certain books in certain months. So let's just get into it. I have 2 books that are on my TBR that are not in my journal, but I definitely know I want to get to this month. One of them I've already started reading, and that is the second book of the Amari series. It's Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. And I read the first one last year and I absolutely loved it. This is a middle grade book, but I don't care how old you are. This is a great book. And this is why I don't like to say I don't read YA, or I do read YA, or I read adult only, because you can have a really well written book for any age group that has fully developed characters with a great plot that is interesting. And this book just proves that. So, or I should say the first Amari. The first Amari I absolutely loved. This one I am about 150 pages into, so I'm not far enough yet. I'm not gonna review this one just yet, but I had this on my TBR for November. So I'll just leave it at that. I could talk about this all day. I'll probably do a video about this, but I love me some Amari. The next book I want to read this month is Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I purchased this right when it came out, but I had dedicated October to reading more spooky things, and this is a fantasy, even though it is Stephen King, so I will be getting to that this month. All right, so on to my books that I wanted to read in 2022. The first one is The Chestnut Man, and I will just show you the author's name because I'm not gonna get to that. This is probably one of the first books I ever bought from Book of the Month when I signed up. I want to say in 2020. So I have had this book for at least a year, and I don't know why I haven't gotten to it. I've heard great things about it. Why haven't I read it? I don't know, because I'm a mood reader and I just never go to grab this book when it's time. So just by reading the synopsis, this book is about a psychopath killer that is leaving clues around, and we are trying to solve this murder. I have heard great things, so I do hope that that doesn't sound great. I hope I get to this. I should be committing, right? I should say, yes, I'm going to read this. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. The next book on my list, House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danilewski. I picked this up. I've had this book for at least 2 years, and this is a chonker. This book is bigger on the inside because look, it has things written sideways, upside down, all over the place. Oh, here's my bookmark. I did actually start this book and I got to page 50. So I picked up this book because I heard that this was the scariest book ever, ever. And I'm like, yeah, right. I need to read that. I'm sure you've heard about this book before. Apparently, it is a one-of-a-kind experience, and I don't doubt that. But I got 50 pages in, and I was just bored, you guys. I was so bored. It's like a book within a book within a book, and I could already tell you that I'm not going to read that this year. I will give it I'll take another stab at it. I've heard mixed things. I've heard that it's definitely worth it. I've heard it's not worth it, that you'll go crazy. Some people maybe like that. But I was just bored. So maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace. I will give it another try, but I know I'm not going to finish it this year. But this was on my list. The next book on my list was The Snowman by Joe Nesbo, and I had seen another booktuber talk about this, and I purchased this at the beginning of the year, but then it kind of got really nice outside here. Like, it wasn't snowy, it wasn't wintry, so I thought I would just save it for winter. So I will probably read this one in December, but I heard that this is a good one, and I believe that this is based on a series where you could read them standalone, but it's like a detective that continues through it's the same detective in all the different books that is solving crimes. So you could read them separately, but it is like a whole series. All right, next up is me wanting to get to some of the books that I have gotten in book subscription boxes. I want to say I got this from Owl Crate, I believe, and it's called This Poison Heart. I was very interested in this when it came out, but I don't know why I haven't picked it up. I will admit that I have a hard time picking up fantasy books because a lot of times I feel like it takes a little bit longer to get into. So it looks like this is a book about a woman or a young girl who has a special ability to grow plants with a single touch. So she's got some kind of magic, kind of sounds like poison ivy type, and she's learning to hone her magic, and so she's kind of learning her magic and how to go about that, but that maybe it has a darker side to it. So I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this book. It said Black Girl Magic and I was interested, so I'm going to try to get to that one this month. All right, next up is a book that I never in a million years would pick up on my own, but everyone kept saying how great this is, and this is Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds. And this is a historical fiction book about the Dust Bowl, and apparently it is going to make you sob. It's going to make you feel all the feels. Totally not my type of genre, but I did get this in a book box at some point, and I've never picked it up because I think, do I want to start crying? Like, do I feel like feeling sad? No. But I know that it's going to be a great book when I finally do read it. I just have never been in the mood to pick it up. So someone tell me that I should pick this up. I've never read anything by Kristen Hanna, but apparently a lot of people love her writing, and most of her books will make you feel a lot of things. So I do want to read this. I want to expand my reading tastes and kind of get out there. So this one is out of my comfort zone, which is probably why I never reached for it. But this is on my TBR, and we'll see. I'm saying we'll see about absolutely everything, which is probably not a good sign. All right, the next three books that I have on the last three books that are on my list are all part of a series. And I could tell you that I am very much interested in reading these series, but because they are a series, like either a trilogy or duology, it has put me off reading them because I feel like that is investing a whole bunch more time into something than just reading a single book. And the first one is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And I've heard nothing but good things about this book and this series. I own all three. Why? I don't know, because I haven't read them. I haven't read any of them, but I know I want to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. So I do need to just sit down and tackle. This one is probably the most intimidating to me because I do feel like it's going to have some pretty intense world building, but it will be worth it. I just need to commit. I need to commit to you, Poppy War. The next one is a duology, and it is called Strange the Dreamer. And I actually got this very special set that is beautiful. I'm trying to remember where I got it from. Lipjoy. It has beautiful end papers. It's annotated by the author, where not everywhere, but let me see if I could find an example. Of course I can't. So there's going to be certain parts where there's passages where the author will tell you how she felt about a certain situation or character, or what she wrote in that situation. We have beautiful pictures, all the reasons to read this book. It's only a duology. It's Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, which I have back here. So it is over 400 pages, and it is fantasy, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of world building, so that's probably why I've shied away from it, but I've only heard great things, so I just need to get to it. This one, I'm saying it. I'm going to read this. I am going to read this. Last but not least is also a part of a series, and the third book actually just came out, and it is Kingdom of the Wicked. So I'm only told myself I'm committing to the first book on all of these series. Like, that should be doable, but we'll see. We'll see. I do want to get to this. This one sounds interesting. I do believe that this is YA. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm sure most people have already read it. I don't know a lot about it. I like to go into books not knowing too much, just that it has the kind of vibe that I think I'll like. So Kingdom of the Wicked, I do own the second two, and the third one actually just came in. So I do have the whole set. I have no excuse not to read it. So these are the ones I'm going to read by the end of the year. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these? Which one should I prioritize? And what's on your TBR? I'd like to hear what books you have left to read this year. And thank you very much for watching. Stay spooky.